Welcome to the latest this week's Acca podcast episode, sponsored by Sky Bet Acca Freeze. Tom, Jimmy and Jake with you as ever to run through the schedule. Coming up then, we're looking at the teams at the top to deliver with 5 backed at 20-1. We actually have a chance to look at the Premier League this Saturday as well. And I'm telling you about the best stadium bar in the country, bar none. Let us know your thoughts in the comments all through Sport Live Football social media channels, and remember to keep it fun. Never bet more you can afford. This podcast is 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. The last couple of Accas then, both on this week's Acca and the Route 1 podcast we do on a Monday. 1 result off, 1 goal off.
So close.
So close.
Yeah.
It feels like it's coming, and I'm sure the people are still with us. Let's start with some comments. I'm sure they're still so supportive, understanding of how close we're coming here.
So close yet so far, but that means nothing.
Nothing. It's a loser still, isn't it?
Yep, and it means nothing to our fans. Joe Claro, he said, on a run of 17...
Joel Cairo. Same as last week.
Does it say, yeah?
Yeah, same guy as last week. You should know his name by now.
Joe, well, he said, we're on... Our friend, he said, on a run of 17 consecutive losers, 5 likes on YouTube. TV star 21. Ooh, someone famous support.
Nice.
Don't know which TV star it is, but he says, I've lost all hope. Which is fair enough. And then someone got back in touch, Pearlwig, after the loss on Tuesday to say 18.
18 there.
And
yeah.
I've had a look. It's now 75 days without a winner.
Then he's put
lol. you guess how many times you could have watched Cars in that?
Yeah,
time?
you were on about. You watched this the other day. Do the maths. How long? How many?
21,600.
Presumably back to back, just on repeat.
Oh yeah, back to back.
You just got to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
never get too much
sleep deprivation kicks in.
No,
you're enjoying Cars. What we have done is that we obviously love to hear from you there, as we've said. Every week now, you go to Sport and Life FC on Twitter, and we're going to put a poll out with 4 Acca-worthy type picks that we think from the weekend slate. You can obviously get involved, vote for it, let us know your thoughts on that one. We put one out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Can't quite remember the 4 teams in it, but where are we up to? We're going to run it all the way up to kickoff, so you can just get involved even after we've done this. Where are we up to?
That's correct, Duffman. We put it out yesterday. The 4 teams involved are Tottenham at home to Brighton in the Premier League, Leicester away at Watford, Pompey away at Carlisle in League 1, and Wrexham at home to Bradford in Sky Bet League 2. And the most the most popular pick, Leicester away at Watford. And I've got to agree, I've got to admit I agree with the people. We had them in last week.
We did.
And they absolutely romped to victory against Stoke. 5-0 it finished, didn't it?
Just a 5, yeah.
5 of the finest. Now, that moved them 11 points clear at the top of the championship. It was their biggest away win since 2019. And first time they've scored 5 on the road since May 2022. I just don't see any reason why we can't just have them in again.
Yeah. It's an interesting game to discuss this one, because what price did we put them in last week? It was like even money. It was around that marker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just 19 to 20, I believe.
Yeah.
Have it down, yeah.
Don't really get that price on Leicester, who are, as the table shows, the best team in the league.
Do you want to take a shorter price against a better team? That's the only question.
I don't know. I think, well, obviously, naturally, we'll kind of start here and talk strong fancies and stuff. I mean, I can see why it's such a popular one. My little doubts last week were, they're an away side. You know what I'm like with that. And they've absolutely blown Stoke out the water, completely hammered them there. Confidence is sky high. It's a Watford squad where numbers are short in multiple positions. It's a weird squad balance. There's kind of bits of debate on Twitter. Should they make a managerial change? Should they go back into that habit or not? He's 3 to 4, 4 to 5, is it? On Leicester. I mean, you just back them every week at that price, wouldn't you?
You'd be a very rich man if you back them every week. Let's say that this season. I'm with Jim. I think this has got to go in.
Yeah.
I think the price is still too good, and we're talking about probably the best team we've ever seen in the Championship. Maybe not to the eye test, but they are definitely the most.
I don't like that statement. I don't like it one bit.
It's been better.
Well, everyone was saying Burnley best side we've seen it Championship last season, and Premier League. That's going well.
It's going well for them. But, I mean, this Leicester team, you look at the individuals they've got as well. Like Burnley, you wouldn't look at their individuals and go, right, they are Premier League quality.
No, it's a good question. Who's the best team in Championship history, I think there's only one answer, one correct answer.
Don't say Sheffield United.
Kevin Keegan's Man City, isn't it? No?
Well, Wolves was in my ear from George, our producer
Nuno's
today.
Wolves.
So
Good.
Leicester at current rate. Obviously, it's current rate. It can change. Things happen. We're on for 110 points. The record is Reading's 106, if I'm correct on that one.
That's correct. That is correct.
Thank you. So, in terms of points, I mean, for full clarity on the Acca, we're back in Leicester here, aren't we? I think
we
this is
are,
where we're
yeah.
going.
Have
But
you seen Watford's home form as well recently? Like, they have properly fallen off, yeah. They sit 15th in the home form table. They've won 5, drawn 5, lost 5 all season. And some of the results recently, lost to Cardiff last week. And Cardiff, as I've been banging the drum for a while, have been really, really poor. Then you look before that, lost at home to Bristol City as well, who've been in and out. Only draw with Stoke, who obviously Leicester hammered last week. So there's not a lot to like at Watford.
Yeah, if we're getting it in, I just wanted to add one more thing. We spoke ages last Thursday about Maresca, and you kept calling it the jeopardy of being so good and not playing that entertainment.
And then bang.
And he was fuming. He was properly angered by the fans' comments, and he threatened
He was
to
angered
leave.
by Tom Carnduff.
Yeah.
join the queue.
He was properly fuming, and that 5-0 at Stoke struck me as a huge statement. And imagine like, if this is Leicester when they're angry now. I'm a bit scared.
Someone made the point on the
league.
pod. I can't remember which of us was, but I know it wasn't me. So it was one of you three. Joe's away today, by the way.
One of yes.
Said that actually, does this not mean Leicester just could be better away from home
I said that
all season? Yeah,
taking the credit for that.
yeah, fair. You can say anyone could claim it. I have no
Playing
idea.
away from the King Power way, as you said, the atmosphere can get a little bit stale with how sometimes passive they are in terms of breaking teams down. Definitely will help them playing away from home. And obviously I didn't see 5-0 coming, but you just look at having Pat Sendaka back from African Cup of Nations as well for that game. He's scored a couple.
And he can
Always helps.
He can do a backflip when he scores.
Which is a huge bonus.
Cartwheel into the backflip.
Gotta enjoy that.
Were they the ones that had the two of them were doing it? Or was that another nation? Have you seen the goal celebration? One of the teams at AFCON, right, they're running off to celebrate in the corner, and two of them have done backflips and like acrobatics and stuff. You know, usually every team has like one player who could do it, and you go, wow, that's brilliant. One of them's going, you thought, oh, that's good. And then the guy next to him just starts doing it. It's like, whoa.
AFCON
I think it
has been
it might have been.
unbelievable watch.
I feel like it's one of the Leicester players' teams, so Nigeria will be the other one, I think. It happened, though. I know that for a fact.
On that, you told me about the guy who had to pull out of the game at AFCON from concussion.
Yep. Yeah, the Egypt player, yeah. Not only did Mo Salah get injured, but one of their forwards tried to do a somersault in training and then concussed himself, which meant he missed the last 6
Well, we laughed.
game.
We laughed at the time it happened, but then we've seen obviously what's followed in the weeks afterwards, and they know the other nations can do this.
Yep.
So they don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, no, they've got to keep the celebration
pitch
game high,
after
right?
they've scored a goal.
But yeah, back to I think the other thing for Watford is
Oh, yeah,
they had
that
an
Acca
FA
thing.
Cup.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had an
yeah,
FA
yeah,
Cup game in midweek as well, a replay.
Yeah, Southampton won again.
3-0, weren't it?
Again, they got hammered by Saints.
Another one.
Go up.
Obviously, Leicester
Win
and
every
Saints
week.
are, very good, as the league table suggests. So I think we just get Leicester in, and this kind of price is still mental, isn't it? You've got a team that are running away with the league, and you're getting this kind of price. If this was the Premier League and you got Man City playing against a mid-table like Crystal Palace, you wouldn't be getting 5 to 6, would you?
Let's do it then. The poll's still available. We'll have it running all the way up to kick off as well. So obviously get involved, see what people are voting for as well. But let's lean on our dear listener, viewer, reader. I don't know if we transcribe this. Let's agree with them. We're all in agreement on this one. And the first pick of this week's Acca, we're taking Leicester for an away win at Watford. We've got Leicester away at Watford then as the first pick of this week's Acca. Should we go for another strongish
Yeah, let's.
fancy based on this?
Yeah, we need all the help we can
Chuck
get.
it open. You take it over.
Jim Rod's like looking at the poll, and currently the second
Oh, let me get this up.
highest.
Let me
voted
tap on mine for
team.
dramatic effect.
Go on, big tapping noises.
Oh, wow, I'm all over Twitter now.
The
Oh,
second
God, what have I done?
most voted team is Wrexham,
Okay.
and I'm all over this personally.
Bradford at home.
Home to Bradford, yeah. I mean, they're just Wrexham have become one of those teams where it's really hard to look at them any kind of getting on side away from home, but as soon as they play at home, they're almost a must bet. And the thing that struck me is the price, which I can't get my head around.
Just looking at this, what?
So
all that about?
19 to 20 we're getting. The last 5 games, they've played Wimbledon at home, who were 9th. They were 4 to 5. They played Barrow, who were 3rd. They were 10 to 11, so shorter than what they currently are now. They played Newport, who were 13th. They were 1 to 2. They played Colchester, who were 21st, 1 to 3. And they played Morecambe, who were 12th. 6 places above Bradford, and they were 2 to 5. So we're getting 19 to 20, which for a team who've got the best home record in the entire division, won 11 of 14, lost just once, and that was on the opening day of the season.
Shit. Well, it's a great point. Shit.
Emphasis.
It's a great point you make on the price, and I've just had a quick look on at what they've gone up. Basically, this is the longest they've gone off at home this season.
Which
And
is
as you said, MK Dons on opening day, and I think they dropped points against Crewe and somebody else, but unbelievable home record. And the problem with us on the show with Wrexham was the bookies overvalued them so much.
Yeah.
But now it seems like it's just swinging the opposite way. There's plenty of juice in this price at 19 to 20. I'm all over it.
I'm just trying to think of why. I mean,
Because obviously we talked about Wrexham and the whole furore around them. Do you reckon it's Bradford being maybe a big club for League Two? They get slightly shorter
big club
prices.
bias is a phrase banded around on this podcast a bit. Do we think it's a thing?
I don't.
So I think that's what it kind of alluded to. The Bradford are one of, if not the biggest club in the division. We've seen it with other clubs in other divisions,
Yeah, they do get. Yeah.
but they're not. The performances are nowhere near matching the stature of a club like them in this division. Is it a case? Is big club bias a thing here? Because it seems to be.
Yeah.
It must be one reason as to explain as to why. Because price is big.
Yeah.
Price is big.
Based on maybe reputation. But yeah, it's a strange one. They've lost 8 of 16 away, Bradford. So not very good travellers. They're on an 8-match winless run in League Two as well. So they've lost that winning feeling. And our producer Dom is not a very happy fan at the moment.
Well, the happy chappy.
Yeah, obviously we've got, we're based in Leeds, so there are Bradford fans around the office and stuff like that. But then you just see it on Twitter as well, and it hasn't been for a while. It's not like it's suddenly a revelation that things aren't particularly happy at Bradford. But again, it just can't quite get my head around the price.
No, I
They
can't.
might not win, but it doesn't particularly add up to me.
And it feels as good a time as any. They're called the Bantams, which is
Oh, I was going to ask this as well.
small. It's like small chickens and fowls. So good excuse for as any for a chicken update. Tom, I know you're gonna love this.
It's been a while since
they
we've had
over at
one.
Henhouse,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, we actually lost one. It flew the nest or something. I don't think the fox got it, but it's gone.
The
It's just gone.
chickens fly.
Chicken run.
Chicken run.
Yeah,
Gone.
they
I
do.
don't know if
They
the
tried
fox
to
got it.
escape.
Yep. But the
Down to
two, the two that are left though, I've got a video that we and I've never known it before. They are obsessed with the house. They're obsessed with the house. They're always trying to get
Henhouse
in
Muir.
to the house, our home. They're not in the fields. They're just trying to get into the house. The other day, washing the pots, one's jumped onto the windowsill and is pecking at the window. And then I turn around, the cat's meowing constantly. And usually, like, if you're washing the pots or something, it thinks there's some food. So I'm like, what? Shut up. What is your problem? I'm not cooking any food. I turn around and it's just staring at a chicken that's trying to get through the kitchen. It's got into the house.
Is it a climate thing? I don't really know much about chickens,
I
but
don't-
bear in mind we're recording this on a day of heavy snow. Do they just want to be in the warmth?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think we should just.
Have you got any other animals? I mean, chickens, cats.
I've only got one cat. Dog.
You got a dog as well?
How many chickens have you got
How many
now?
farm?
Two.
Two. Just two left.
Good news is they've just started laying.
As I say, any more
Age.
plans to expand the chicken coop or?
We might expand. It's just nice to have a tight little unit. Learn the characters, the names.
You know where you stand with
Yeah.
them, don't you? You know where you
Get too
stand.
many. It's just there's not enough love to go around them all, is there?
I think we've made our second pick then this week's Acca
Yeah.
on this, joining
Against the
Leicester.
chickens.
Yeah, Leicester away at Watford. We've got Wrexham for a home win against Bradford in Sky Bet League 2. The double, around 23 to 10 at the moment.
One thing we've all got in common is having that one leg of an Acca let us down. From spending your winnings in your head to cursing that last-minute equaliser that broke your heart. But it doesn't have to be that way. Acca Freeze from Sky Bet gives you the power to freeze a winning score early. Even if that team goes on to lose, Sky Bet will settle it as a winner. It's time to take action. It's time to Acca Freeze and end the game your way. Visit skybet.com for full terms and conditions.
Acca free selection times then. The one teams we think are going to win this weekend, but you've got that little safety net as well. Jake, kick us off.
Premier League, Brighton at
That's a rare
Spurs.
treat.
Nearly 3-1. If you remember, not long ago they played at the Amex and Brighton just caused havoc in the space that Spurs gave them, and I think it'll be exactly the same this time.
Jim Rod?
I wonder who he's going to go
Cheeky.
for. Rotherham whopping price at Ellen Road against Leeds. Now, of course, all the usual spiel about Rotherham against the big possession bevy teams. But Leeds played an hour and how long was it? Extra time. 2 hours at Plymouth.
Yeah.
Long way to travel. Long game. They could be leggy. Slow start.
Shout.
League One for me, Cambridge to beat Cheltenham. I was so hot on Cheltenham, and it's like, there's all the striker, another one's injured, and it's not quite there for them at the moment. I think it's about 4 defeats in the last 5, potentially. Cambridge seen a bit of upturn in form. They are our Acca free selections. Back to this week's Acca. You mentioned the Premier League and the Acca frees bit there, and I'm glad you did, because there is 5 Premier League games at 3 p.m.
Unheard of now.
What a rare treat this is on this, because we always focus on Saturday 3 p.m. The Premier League, yeah, there's always 1 or 2 games that are happening. It feels like we can actually talk about the Premier League this week.
Hooray!
How nice is that?
Very exciting, yeah. The games are a bit meh, aren't they, in general, but
Oh, I couldn't disagree more.
go on.
There's
What
some
have you got your eye
absolute crackers.
Just
Luton v
your
Sheffield
boys are
United.
playing. Yeah.
It's a big one, though. It should be a good
Huge.
game.
It's a biggie.
Yeah. Are you taking Luton at 3-4?
Well, it's interesting because obviously Luton were the anti-post favourites for the drop, and up until United played Luton on Boxing Day, United and Luton were still pretty much the favourites to both go down. And since then, well, at the exact moment was about 30 minutes from time at Bramall Lane. Luton 2-1 down, didn't have another shot on target, but left Bramall Lane with 3 points. And since then,
Remarkable game.
Great game.
the two clubs have just gone in complete opposite directions. So much so that Sheffield United were the favourites, taking into account home advantage. They were the favourites in the home game, and now Luton are the clear favourites in the away game. And it's just a reflection of the complete different directions the clubs have gone. But I've got to say, despite Luton's really good performances recently, I just don't know if they're a touch short.
I think they're way too short. Don't get me wrong, I think Luton are a better team than Blades, but to go 3-4, I mean, I know it was the FA Cup and they probably made a few changes, but they were 7-10 to beat Bolton at home in the FA Cup, who are currently a League One team. So to just notch that up a little bit against Sheffield United is mental. And yet again, I know it's a while back in October, but they were 2-1 to beat Burnley at home. And Burnley, as we said, promoted from the Championship with 100 points. They were comfortably better than Luton last season. And this is by far the shortest price Luton will have been all season long. They like being the underdogs. They're definitely not the underdogs this weekend.
Best price you can get on Luton relegation is 6-4 now.
Yep.
That's
Which is
a
insane,
drift. Blades are as short as 1-200.
Yeah. I say Sky Bet
12 on
stopped
Burnley.
taking
Yeah,
bets on
Sky Bet
Blades.
just
Yeah.
stopped on the Blades, and that's their situation. A couple of other bookmakers have done so as well. Shows Luton that such a short price to go down. Now it's anyone's game, really. Nottingham Forest, Everton, of course, in there. Palace, Brentford still in the run-in particularly as well.
I think if I was to have a bet in the Luton game, I would be looking at goals as opposed to a winner for value.
Oh, what about cards?
Or both, yeah. Yeah, and I know you got your eye on Wolves Brentford.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me chuck in a game that potentially is one you can have for the results, of course, and hopefully one that we can maybe look at for this week's Acca. Odds against Wolves against Brentford's bit big. I thought they'd potentially drift into the odds-on territory. We talk about Luton and Sheffield United, and we knew Brentford have struggled, right? Until you then see the form written down, all in the colours and red and stuff like that, you go, Jesus, I didn't realise it was that bad. 7 defeats in their last 8 league games, 9 defeats in their last 11 for Brentford.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was that bad.
What the hell has happened there? Obviously, Tony's back. Morpie's annoying the entire league again.
Cheeky little rascal, isn't
Yeah. They played Man City, of course. City are very good on Monday, but again, it just looked like, I mean, Flecken had a brilliant game, didn't he? They've bought a new goalkeeper and he's suddenly gone, I should probably start performing now. Made loads of saves in the first half. And it's a Wolves side themselves. 4 wins in the last 6 for Wolves. When Gary O'Neill came at the start of the season, I remember on one of the early episodes of this, the Man United away game, there was debate on, is it a fluke? Is it a one-off? They can't sustain that. I think they've probably overperformed expectations. That they weren't exactly out of the relegation conversation, were they, pre-season? Their form's been great. And yeah, for me, I just think, a strong side against, or a team in good form, I should say, against one who are just struggling. Home team, odds against, probably the pick of the Premier League 3pmers for me. Wolves to beat Brentford.
Yeah, I have my slight doubts. I agree. I think the price is probably fair. Wolves at home have been excellent recently. The record, the last 9 is 1-5, drawn 3, lost 1. That one defeat, obviously, when Man United scored that very late winner last week. My only concern about Wolves is just the amount of chances they give up, because they play in such an open, expansive fashion. Concede a lot of good chances, a lot of goals. And even in the reverse, I know they won that game 4-1. Did Wolves at Brentford, but Brentford created loads of chances even before the scoreline got completely out of hand. They finished the game with 2.5 expected goals, which suggests that the game should have probably been tighter. But if you look at Wolves' recent games, 4 conceded against United, 2 against Chelsea, and a lot of chances conceded. So I'd have my doubts, especially facing Tony and co. And I think now that Tony's back, I know you're a big fan of Brentford and just their overall game plan. I don't know. Are you? You tipped them top half, didn't you?
7 of 10 away league games for Brentford this season have ended in defeat. And now go to a Wolves side who I think Brentford, the regressions just kept going and going. Wolves, I should say, Pedro Neto's obviously back. Wang Hee-chan returns because South Korea have been knocked out the Asian Cup.
Have they got a third place playoff, or do they not?
I don't think. I think. Well, I saw isn't Son potentially available this weekend.
Maybe they don't have one then.
Son's back today. Hopefully, he's aiming.
Yeah, Hwang will be back as well. That's
a good question on the thing. To be fair, even without him, I'd still be more than confident in them. There's a piece on the website you can look at on Matthias Cunha, what's behind his good season so far. It just seems to be that Gary O'Neill cooking something.
He's cooking for real. He's a brilliant manager, and he spoke so well on Monday Night Football Club. I don't know what it.
Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football. Yeah. I thought that was it, and the ultimate move, really, showing you how you've been sacked, and then going on telly and telling the world about how you beat your ex-club.
Yeah.
Genius. Absolute genius. But I'm reluctant because I don't think there's much juice in this price. Wolves went off longer against Everton, Chelsea, and there was another similar game. Longer against Everton and Chelsea. 2 teams I'd rank pretty similar-ish to Brentford. Now they've got Tony back. And Tony and Mopai, what an awful partnership that is. What a terrible pair of blokes. They are going to be some partnership. I'm really looking forward to them two playing together. And I'd just be reluctant to get against Brentford. I know what you're saying about the form. There's a lot of negatives, but you're just missing out one key aspect, and that's the fact that Tony's back.
Again, it's turned it around so much since he's returned.
Hey, how dare you?
Again, I'd be looking at goals again in that one. Over 2.5 goals has landed in 147 of 228 Prem games this season, so 64% of matches have featured over 2.5. I'd just be looking at maybe backing over 2.5. I could
really glad a cheap town goalkeeper's on FPL.
Yeah,
waste of time.
Complete waste. Complete waste of time. It's so much attacking football.
Before we jump out of the Prem, then we spoke Luton, Sheffield United. We spoke Wolves, Brentford. Those other games, Fulham, Bournemouth's an interesting clash. Liverpool are 1-7 to beat Burnley, and Tottenham, Brighton's the other one. Which, again, I think there's going to be some disagreement here. But Tottenham 4-5. That's, I don't know. No, that's slightly big for me, considering Brighton's issues in the league this season, and of course Tottenham, who navigated and injury issues, availability issues, navigated through that, and then they're getting all these players back now. Madison's returned, Son's coming back. Defensively, they've actually got defenders in their back line, which is nice.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Just feels it's all coming back in at the right time for them.
I'm with you 100%. 2 key things for me in this game. Sonny's back for the hosts.
Yeah.
That means they'll have that magical quartet if he starts, which I think he will, because he's an absolute.
He'll start.
It's different, isn't it, when you think that players who have gone away and come back from injury, for example, ease them back in, they've just been playing football like they would have. You know, it's not really. Maybe it is, but in terms of the frequency, when you think you're in the cup, you're in the league, and that they're playing football every few days. They're kind of doing that here anyway, so it's not as if they're gagging for a rest.
He'll come straight in, Son.
I'm with you.
Club captain, he'll straight in.
Yeah, and Richarlison's firing, so it means you got that front four, Son, Maddison, Kulusevski, who's some player, by the way, and Richie Lara up front. And the other thing for me is Brighton. Obviously, De Zerbi rotates so much, like 6-7 changes a week. Is he actually bothered about the league anymore? Is he really that fussed? Because sometimes it strikes me with
They've got
his
Europe
selection.
next week.
Yeah, sometimes it strikes me with his
they
selection
don't.
that
No, they
he's favouring the other competitions.
So Brighton at the moment are let's do the quick maths on that. 11 points behind Villa in fourth. They are 9 points behind Tottenham in fifth. Okay, we may get the fifth spot as a Champions League in part of the revamp thing.
Pretty big game.
However, though, it's not guaranteed. Like I think we thought we were nailed on to get it. I don't actually think that's the case here. And as it stands, the Premier League's like really on the line of getting that. So it'd be pretty bad to assume that the fifth spot is going to be a Champions League spot. I'm not saying they'll ever just bin it off, but with the Europa League returning and stuff like that, it's more than understandable. I mean, West Ham won a European trophy last season. They only were secure from relegation on the penultimate weekend of the season.
I know I said earlier that Brighton are playing Europe next week. They're not because they won the group, so they don't play.
Yeah, they've got it for a while. Yeah,
I think I've got massive reservations about putting Spurs in the Acca. I just think that the way in which Brighton play, they struggle against teams that sit back and basically play a deep line block and try and counter attack. They love playing against the better teams in the league because they provide them with space to play their game. Mm-hmm. You know, Spurs in the reverse, it was 4-2. They heavily rotated against Arsenal, admittedly in defeat, but that was off the back of a big midweek European game. And yeah, they drew with at Liverpool. They run Man City really close. They beat Man United, if you can class them as a good team still.
Absolutely annihilated at Villa, didn't they?
They did, yeah. But Villa, again, were happy to play in that kind of withdrawn, sit back and counter-attack and expose Brighton's high line. So I'd have my doubts. But again, I'd just be looking at siding with goals in this one. I think could be a
good line, Jake.
Yeah, say it again. But yeah, over 2.5 Acca in the Prem is probably what I'd be looking at.
Corners, be lunatic game.
You love Spurs corners at the minute, don't you?
Spurs, Brighton,
yeah.
Bournemouth for another one as well. Okay. Where should we go then? Because I think we need a third pick. I'm happy to go away from the Premier League. And happy to kind of throw it open. Said they're Wolves at Tottenham. Obviously, throw it back to that side of the table, and you guys can go for it really from there. But I feel with Leicester and Wrexham, just to recap where we're up to, is the two teams are definitely having Leicester away at Watford, Wrexham away at Bradford. Need a third team to join them, and then we'll kind of look at where we're at on the price.
Can I throw Hull into the mix at 3-4?
Yeah, Hull were a team that's interesting this week because we backed them before.
We did. We backed them at a bigger price.
Yeah. So that's potentially the only thing.
This is the kind of price I expected to see them in that game against Millwall, if I'm being honest, because I think they brought in so many signings. People were just wanting to keep an eye on them, see what they looked like. But they looked really good against Millwall. I know the scoreline was a narrow victory, but they were dominant throughout. And the home form's been super good. Won 6, lost 3 of the last 9, and 5 of the 6 wins have come against teams in the bottom half, so they're really making light work of them. And you just look at Swansea and the way in which they've set up recently under Luke Williams. We kind of expected it, didn't we, given what he did at Notts County.
Williams' teams try and defend challenge.
Exactly.
Impossible.
They play so open, so exposed, and they've been caught out numerous occasions since he's come in. So yeah, I think this should be a tad shorter than it currently is, because I don't think Swansea are a very good side, especially now with Williams.
Shorter than it is.
I think Williams is still trying to figure things out.
0.75.
Do you think Swansea could... I'm going to go back to something I did very early when we were doing this podcast. Do you think Swansea could score twice in this game?
Yes, 100%. Did you watch the game against Plymouth? Have you seen the highlights?
Yeah, but where was
Hazard
that?
in the Plymouth goal had an absolute worldie. He must have made about 3 or 4 massive saves. You pull the XG up.
Where was that?
Nerd. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the XG.
Because this is the thing.
Look at it. I don't know how it ended 1-0.
I didn't have this game down. I knew it as a potential, but I was more than happy to sit it out and let you two argue about it.
Too short for me. I'm worried.
The question for me would be that if you think
they should have
think
scored,
Swansea, because Hull should score a couple in this game, because Swansea, as we saw in Notts County, it's a system thing that my God, they just can't defend whatsoever. If Hull have scored twice, can Swansea match that? Would be my question about this game.
I don't think they can. All right, good performance at home to a Plymouth team that generally don't travel well anyway. At home, this is a different kettle of fish against a playoff contender who have proven over the season so far that they are one of the better teams in the division, and they've strengthened in January, so they're only going to get better. And Swansea, away from home, have been, well, last couple of games, I know they've played Southampton and Leicester, but it's not ended very well for them. Even away at Birmingham, conceding twice is not ideal. So,
Yeah, but how many did they score at Birmingham?
again, Hull a much better team than Birmingham.
Yeah, but
This is a step up on those teams that you're mentioning. So I'm not saying they're Leicester's level or Southampton's level, but Hull are a top 6 team, as the table currently suggests. And like I said, they've strengthened in January. They're only going to get better. They've got the players in those tight little positions to be able to exploit Swansea's space at the lead.
I'm conscious of time and the fact that we haven't made a third.
So if you want to pin it, we'll pin it.
I'll offer Jim Rod the right to reply in form of chucking another team out that he thinks we can all agree with, because we could come and revisit Hull. Who knows? But if we can pick one now that you go, yeah, bam, we're all on board with this one. Let's get them straight in. We can all live happily together
all right,
again.
this isn't my favourite one, but I think it's a daft price. Stockport, shade of odds on, 19 to 20 at Grimsby, and it's pretty simple, really. You got top of the league versus 20th, Stockey versus the bottom 5, played 6, won 6, goal difference plus 18. Wow! In those games, they went off way shorter.
Why have you put ha 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 ha?
Plus 18, that's insane in 6 games.
He's literally typed ha 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 ha.
Oh, it's a nice little reminder point, isn't it?
Yeah, to make sure to laugh.
Remember to laugh. Yeah, anyway, plus
Maybe
18.
good, yeah.
Yeah, in those games, they went off way shorter as well, way shorter than they currently are. So
Yeah.
it's a price thing. They're not going to be this price come kickoff. And with the 18 goal difference against the bottom 6, like, I don't think it's even going to be close.
Do you want to ask the Grimsby fan in the
Yeah.
corner?
Yeah, I went to Grimsby Accrington last week, or Accrington Grimsby. That game was on. Brilliant. 0-0.
Talk about the best part of the game, though.
I'll talk about that because I'm going to talk about Accrington later on in this podcast.
Oh,
I'll
okay, you're
save it for
saving
that bit to tease something coming up. Grimsby looked good second half. Looked a lot better. Should have won the game. New signings have come in. Curtis Thompson. Everything was going through him in the midfield. Basically, signed a few on deadline day. Just chucked them straight in. Feels like he's going to be very important if he can stay fit. But then I'm conscious, of course, that's Accrington. This is Stockport. I just don't know with Grimsby that Artell's a very kind of good head coach. They've made new signings, but they have conceded a lot of goals in home games recently.
Yeah.
5 against Notts County, 6 against Walsall, turned over by Nigel Atkins, lovely man, Tranmere. Lost against Harrogate as
Nigel
well.
Atkins, tick.
Yeah, there we go. That's on the bingo card. Yeah, so I could get on board with it, despite Stockport themselves have bad iffy away form, right? I think.
Yeah, they did just go and demolish Doncaster in the last away game.
Yeah.
5-1. I'm leaning towards it on a price perspective in particular.
The price thing for me, you're talking what, even money around that marker?
The shade of odds on, Duff, man.
Shade of odds on, to give it its technical term.
That looks big. I mean, we're talking about. I know it's not to the same extent as Leicester, because Leicester are completely running away with it. But you're talking about the league leaders in League Two. They've been the best team in League Two for most of the campaign.
You get it.
To still get that kind of price against a team hanging about the bottom. Well, they're probably not going to go down, but they're not. Was it 7 points above the bottom? The
Yeah,
bottom
down.
2. I think it should be a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
I'd be happy to go. with it.
Yeah, I was question mark on this game, but if you guys are happy to go with it, I'm kind of happy to side along with that. I think Grimsby will win games in the second half of the
Do
season.
you think they're going to win this game, though?
No. In terms of
If Stockport
See
score
the big
twice,
a
could
lot.
Grimsby score twice?
Oh, God, they're a lunatic team. They score about 6. And then concede 8. This is the problem with them. Yeah, look, if obviously we know Jimmy wants it, Jake. If you're happy,
I'm
I'll
happy
take
to
it as a
win it,
third
yeah.
selection. It's spoke about Leicester's price. This is another team that, on paper,
Yeah.
even money.
Well, if you think Notts County went and scored 5, but they obviously can't defend, so they conceded 5. Stockport could score 5, but they can defend. So in theory,
Let's go with that then. The third
with it.
selection then. This week's Acca, it's our second away team, but it's a strong one of that. Stockport to beat Grimsby, joining Wrexham to beat Bradford and Leicester to beat Watford, the treble above 5-1. We're above 5-1 then on this treble. We've waffled on for ages. The price-wise, maybe 2 more teams, depending how we feel. Comfortable home picks, I think, now.
Uh-oh, I've got an away team.
Of course you have.
They were 7-4. They've shortened to 31-20, but I still think there's plenty of juice in that prize. What if I told you there was a team who've got a new manager?
Oh,
5 games in, undefeated.
Really?
3 wins, 11 points.
wow.
What's more, 96 shots, 32 on target,
Wow.
10 goals.
10
goals? They are going to a team who've won one of their last 5. They've only won... Oh, bollocks.
He's ruined it.
I've done it.
man.
Yeah,
You're on the
Just
roll.
pretend that bit didn't happen.
Yeah,
and
what-
just do your next point.
What if I told you they've only won one of their last 5? It's, of course, Salford.
Wow.
Swindon.
What if I told you Swindon have won 2 of the last 3 home games?
Yep, I've done it as they are also playing away. That's why I went bollocks. It's an away being away.
Oh, yeah. Unbeaten
Right.
at 3 at home, aren't they?
Yeah, shit, I've done it wrong.
Fair, though. Like,
Oh dear.
what did you say, 6-4-ish?
Yeah, it's good.
Bad single bet.
Right.
How the tables have turned though. Salford were massive outsiders, and now all of a sudden they're a favourite away from
Yeah,
home.
Salford coming to this off the back of a thrashing
Over
of Wrexham.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not, I'm getting the sense you're not bothered about them in the Acca, but
You are
the
correct.
handicap might be worth looking into. Asian line -1, so it means if they win by 1, your stake is returned. If they win by a 2-goal margin, it's a winner. That's around 3-1. Might have shortened a touch.
Yeah. I've no doubt that Jim will also have a Smith hat trick as well.
No, I see it in his eyes when we go, let's go for
Roger.
some nice, comfortable one. What about this? Ah, okay.
You even teed him up with, a couple more home teams.
And he went, I've got
Going
one.
away.
Right,
He
here we
went on
go.
the road. I'll go home team.
Okay,
League One, Blackpool at home to
we're back to
Oxford.
Blackpool.
Back. I know we've had a very interesting relationship with Blackpool on off. They've helped us a couple of times and they've shafted us a couple of times. But I trust them this weekend, and the main reason is because they're at home.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Which
it's
is always
always
help.
always said yes home, no away.
Yeah,
That's the rule with Blackpool.
best home record in the entire division. Won 10, drawn 3, lost 3. They drew last time out against Charlton, but that was days after Michael Appleton was sacked. So you have the old manager sack bounce,
Yes.
where, as we've learnt on this podcast, we don't go near a team that's had a managerial change heading up to the weekend. The underlying data backs up the solid home record. Second behind only Peterborough. But the interesting thing for me is how bad Oxford have been recently.
Yeah.
They've played 14 under the new manager, Des Buckingham. Won 4, drawn 4, lost 6, which is absolutely not playoff form whatsoever. And it's why they've dropped from the title race all the way out of the current playoff picture. The wins have come against Burton, Cambridge, Charlton and Carlisle. They're all in the bottom 10. This is a big step up for them, and I like the way this looks.
I'm with you on this, Blackpool, I've said many a time on this podcast, screw this over, but I'm sure Oxford lost to Peterborough, sure they lost to Derby, Barnsley, maybe recently they've dropped.
They did. They lost 1-0 at home to
I think they've drawn with Pompey and someone else who's up there. So against the top teams, they're not winning either. And they go to a team who, does Blackpool still have the best home division?
they do.
in the division?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What price was this, sorry?
Even money. we're getting
That's
to Blackpool.
big. I think this is obviously a price influenced by a whole season where Liam Manning was there and he went in November to Bristol City. Jim Rod?
Yeah, I was just looking and I was thinking, I'm a bit concerned because they only lost 1-0 to Barnsley, top 8, Bristol Rovers. We kind of rate Bristol Rovers, don't we? Don't
really,
we?
no.
We do.
They had a
Like
new,
them.
they had a
We
new
do.
manager bounce.
We know.
Yeah, drew with Pompey, drew with Reading. Apart from Bristol Rovers, who were slightly bottom half, they're all top 8 teams. But then I was worried. But then you said, what price are they? Even money. And I thought, yeah.
I mean, this is if it was like 8
price.
to 11 territory, I'd be a bit more like,
this
maybe.
is why I
It's-
hated the Hull bet, too short. But this one, I think that's a brilliant price. And I'm happy for them to complete the Acca.
No, because my favourite pick has not been said.
Yeah, we've only got 4,
Need to
Jim Rod.
throw this out here.
Yeah, throw it.
That's 11 to 1, that fourfold-ish. 11 to 1-ish. Word of the podcast. But I can't let the Acca go without bringing to the table my favourite pick of the weekend, MK Dons against Accrington Stanley.
My guy.
4 to 5. Yeah, 4 to 5 on this one. It would take your Acca to above 20 to 1 on a 5-fold. Lovely little Saturday 5 teams to roar on there. I said I went to Accrington Stanley, didn't I, to watch them play Grimsby. Overriding feeling was it was freezing cold. You're in the away terrace with no roof. First half happened.
Yep.
Went to
Some
the
players kicked a ball around. for
yeah.
a bit.
Second half completely outplayed. Grimsby completely outplayed, who aren't a great football team, as we spoke about, but they should have won. Should have won the game. Danny Rose had an opportunity. I can't recall Accrington having a shot in the second half. I wasn't that hammered by that point, but I can't recall them.
Speaking of hammered, just tell everybody about the bar experience.
Oh, yeah, we're on about taking like the podcast on the road at some point, right? Why don't we go to a club? I pitched to you that we must go to Accrington Stanley. Coley's Bar at Accrington Stanley is the greatest inside stadium bar that's not your hospitality snobbery. Oh, you've got to pay £100 to get it. No, you got a match ticket, in you come, home and away, doesn't matter. And we thought, brilliant. You walk, it is unbelievable, this thing. I don't know when it was refurbished, but it's like incredible. You can go online, look at the pictures of this place. Massive bar, huge TVs, watch all the football going on, nice view out onto the pitch and stuff like that. It is the greatest in-stadium bar in the country. Don't bring me your, new Tottenham Stadium. Oh, what about, no. Accrington Stanley's Coley's Bar. If you go to Accrington, or even if you're not going, go to Accrington, get a ticket to go to Coley's Bar. And it's like $3.50-ish a pint as well. It's a nice little, this huge modern bar. And then in the far corner, you got your loaded chips, your cook, your menu. Oh, food's brilliant. Drink's brilliant. And obviously, it's mixed. Everyone's talking to each other about the form. How's the team getting on? Tell us about your signings, yada, yada. It is genuinely brilliant.
And
you've got to go if you get a chance to go to Accrington. Get a match ticket. Get into Coley's Bar. It's brilliant.
You met Win Stanley in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I met the dog. That's all.
We'll get that picture.
Yeah. I met him. We got on brilliantly. He came over. We had a picture with him. Little fist bump.
Serious?
What a friendly atmosphere. What a friendly atmosphere. I don't know if he wanted my little loaded chips, my cheesy loaded fries that I had. But yeah.
What was on tap?
Oh, all sorts. I can't remember what it was called, but it's a lovely ale. Lovely, pale ale that we're having. But that's it. Loads. Absolutely. If you want it, they're probably in that bar.
Oh, you could watch the game from in there, couldn't you?
I don't know. I don't know.
Mixed up somewhere else.
I don't know. Well, you can see the pitch.
Obviously,
I'm going out to terrace, but it's such a good ground that we went out of the bar 2 minutes before kickoff, and we had to wait because they had to pull the tunnel out for the players to walk out, so we couldn't then go into the away end. So we had a lovely pitch side view on that one. And more importantly, I think they're going to lose this weekend when they go to MK Dons.
I see back there. Yeah.
The big thing for me was Accrington, who have also, having seen them last week, there's also a struggle, I think, when I was looking at their results, against teams you'd probably put in the more possession-focused, patient style. We now know MK Dons are like that under Iron Mike, aren't they? Notts County, Mansfield, Stockport, Swindon, Crawley. All defeats, and I believe they've conceded 3+ goals in all of those games as well. I'd probably put that group of teams in that more non-direct, more willing to want the ball, pass it around and stuff like that. And I think there was the fact that what do I have? Oh, they have also MK Dons have beaten direct teams as well. When I was looking that up as well, 4-5.
Dons have beaten a lot of teams at home recently,
and they're shit hot. Yeah,
they've won 8, drawn 1, lost 1 of the last 10 home games since Williamson was appointed. And yeah, again, going back to the underlying data, second best in the league across the last 12 matches. So it's not just at home. Overall, they've been one of the better teams in the league. And this price, I think if they carry on doing what they're doing, this kind of price is going to vanish by the end of the season. They're going to be going off way shorter.
Are we happy to include MK Dons and make it that nice 5-fold?
Yeah, so what I'm gathering is MK Dons are good.
Yep.
Good in possession.
Yeah.
Good against direct teams.
Yep.
They are shit hot.
Yep.
Yes.
They're going to win probably by a 3-goal margin.
Yep.
Why not?
Get them in.
But have they got a bar as good as Accrington?
Yeah, the final point on that is Accrington Stanley AFC Wimbledon, Tuesday 13th February is their next home game. Get yourself there to that bar. It is superb. 5-fold. Do we feel happy with this?
I'm loving this.
We recap.
Really?
Price above 20-1 on these 5 teams, which are Leicester, as selected by you, our lovely listeners, to beat Watford. Wrexham to beat Bradford. We've got Stockport to beat Grimsby. Jumping up 1 division against Blackpool to beat Oxford. And then finishing it off, it's MK Dons to beat Accrington. That 5-fold above the 20-1 marker, I should say. And as we say, every single week, remember to keep it fun. Never bet more than you can afford, and please gamble responsibly. Jim Rod's looking forward to the comments in the comments section of this one. Get in touch with us. Let us know your thoughts on that, the teams we've discussed, either on YouTube or through Sporting Life Football social media channels. And head over to sportinglife.com/football on Friday. You'll find the link to back that 5-fold at an enhanced price. And as I get told by the producers every week, plug the podcast channels. Make sure people are getting involved with it So, of course, please follow, rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or your chosen podcast provider. We will be back with a Route 1 episode on Monday.